Host of Overnights on Radio 2GB, Luke Grant joins me now, and Chief of Staff to Pauline Hanson's One Nation, James Ashby. Thank you, gentlemen. It's not Friday unless you're there to run through the headlines. Let's look at, we saw there the Prime Minister at India, but let's look at Peter Dutton, who left Canberra last night, headed for WA, and this afternoon has met with industry players as the coalition is pushing back on Labor's ban on live sheep exports. Have a listen.
We should stand up, recognise firstly what the industry has done to improve the situation over the last few years. The farmers who are here today, those that are showing their sheep, those that are involved in the supply chain, they want the best for sheep, for the animals as well. And I wanted to make it very clear today that we will support the industry.
James, you and I will remember the Gillard government banning live cattle exports. Huge backlash, a $1 billion payout from taxpayers to affected growers, farmers in that case, and into Indonesia. Is this the same issue, or do you think sentiment has changed? Where's One Nation on it?
Well, One Nation met with the sheep farmers of Western Australia throughout the week in Canberra, which was great. We've actually been over to visit those sheep farmers in the past as well. Let's not forget, Australia's got a very unique situation here, and the fact is we are the only country in the world that has the capacity to deliver on meat that's required for the UAE and other parts of the world. We send out 60,000 sheep every fortnight to those countries in the cooler months. They've self-regulated themselves now, so we will never see another disaster that we saw all those years ago. And we've made changes in a self-regulated market now. We've put vets on those ships. We are disease-free. So, of course, other countries want our sheep. Now, live exports changed as well. When Kuwait, you saw pictures many years ago of Kuwaitis loading sheep into the back of their station wagon or their cars and that. That's all stopped now. There's a $100 million plant that's now been established over in Kuwait alone, and the UAE has cleaned its act up as well. There is no reason to shut this industry down. This is Labor bending to the Greens and to the Animal Justice Party for preferences ahead of another election in just 2 years' time.
All right, you're not rocking the animal justice linkages with Labor and the Greens. Luke, we talked about super last week. It's franking credits that were front and centre this week. Now, it's a complicated issue, franking credits, but I tell you what, if you are of retirement age or close to it, you understand all the detail ins and outs. Labor said they weren't going to do this prior to the election. This was one of the reasons why Scott Morrison won in 2019. Treasury, though, have belled the cat. They said this amounts to a broken promise. What's been the reaction of your talkback audience?
You know what it's been, Peter? There's now a collection of these things, which on their own maybe a government would argue for, but collectively now it tells a story of government that forgot almost what they were saying just before May last year. And people are unhappy. You're right, in 2019, this was a really big issue. And we had senior Australians talking to their kids about what the hell are you going to do, and it was a significant result for Morrison. I think it's a result of that. But my listeners now just start to counter what looks like a broken promise, something that looks to be appallingly handled, and there's evidence of that all around the place. And when you elected Albo, guess what? You got another politician. Good luck with that.
Let's go to this lithium mine issue, James. I find it fascinating and a real concern, something we've got to watch. There's a mine in WA, it's called Bald Hill. It mines lithium, which we know is one of those rare earth minerals, incredibly important to the future. There's a Chinese-connected owner, Alinta Resourcing. It's mining all the lithium there, and it's sending hundreds of thousands of tonnes back to China at very low prices that, via a Hong Kong company, the side deal there, but they're prices that then don't attract the same level of royalty payments to the WA government. But it also leads to questions about who really controls this mine. Is it the Chinese Communist government? Is it a public company? This is something I suspect that the Foreign Review Investment Board or any number of government bodies have got to look at very carefully, James.
Well, resources belong to the people of this country, and more so, in particular, the people of the state in which they're taken from. If you remember rightly, when Malcolm Turnbull introduced the Royal Commission into the banks, it was One Nation that recommended that we bring in the administrators into that process as well. It was denied. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked here. Why did the administrators allow this deal to go through? At the end of the day, this deal that is going to ultimately China, Australia is the biggest lithium producer in the world, and we are missing out on the royalties. We are missing out on the taxes. These are dodgy deals that are being done, and there really does need to be some answers. I take my hat off to the Australian and the whistleblower, clearly, who provided them with the information to last week's story. It was a great story.
We'll see what happens with it, won't we? We'll follow that one up. Queensland today, the independent agency, Luke, in charge of overseeing all the billions that will be spent on Olympics infrastructure, well, it's been axed. So there'll be no independent oversight body of the spending, and matters in relation to infrastructure will now be shared within internal state government agencies, which, of course, report to the Labor Premier. This is a real concern.
Yeah, well, of course, everything that's done in Queensland happens so well. All you got to do is look at health, look at administration of taxes. The bloke up there, Cameron Dick, he'll introduce a tax one week, then have to take it off a fortnight later. What a joke. What a joke. You know what, Peter, I was talking about this with Queensland listeners. I wanted to get a sense of where things are with Premier Palaszczuk, because I've had a few people disagree with me about, I think she's hopeless. Her deputy is even worse. Good luck. I mean, boy. And they've had enough. Here she is, Queen of all the world, now running the Olympics as well. And the idea of getting independent minds together, representing all levels of government, where money is coming from, is now a thing of the past, because you see there, Anastasia's Olympics. Joke.
All right, I'll leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Again,
Thank you.
Luke, you've got to lift your game. Lift your game. James has won the backdrop of the week again from beautiful Emu Park. Give us a bit more, Luke. All right, see you next week.
I'm here for the work.